The spotlight hit him like a flare, illuminating the wild, untamed figure who would become the voice of a generation. Jim Morrison, poet, rock icon, rebel. Yet behind a leather jacket and haunting gaze lay a life drenched in chaos, addiction, and scandal. On the stage, he commanded the world. Off it, he teetered on the edge of self-destruction. Rare photos from the shadows of his last days reveal secrets no one dared speak. How could a man so brilliant, so magnetic, burn out at just 27, leaving the world haunted and craving answers? Behind the screaming fans and blinding stage lights, Morrison's world was a fragile, tumultuous place. In a dimly lit Parisian apartment, the door ajar and cigarette smoke curling through the air, he scribbled lines of poetry on scraps of paper, fragments of thoughts that would never reach the public eye. The camera might have captured him belting out, "Light my fire," commanding arenas, but never the hollow silence in the hotel room at 3 a.m., the trembling hands clutching a bottle that promised escape, yet delivered despair. Rare photographs, unseen until now, reveal the flicker of exhaustion in his eyes, the subtle tension in his jaw as he stared at a wall of mirrors reflecting not the rock god adored by millions, but a man at war with his own demons. Friends whispered of nights spent wandering the streets of Paris, untethered and untamed, chasing fleeting moments of freedom, leaving behind only echoes of laughter and the faint scent of rebellion. Every performance was a delicate balancing act, poetic brilliance fused with self-destruction, each lyric a confession, each gesture a warning. In these rare glimpses, the world sees not the myth, not the icon, but the man whose genius was inseparable from his chaos, whose light burned impossibly bright, and whose shadows reached impossibly deep. Jim Morrison was born on December 8, 1943, in Melbourne, Florida, into a family steeped in discipline and expectation. His father, George Stephen Morrison, was a Navy officer, frequently away on assignments, a man of strict rules and high standards. His mother, Clara, a teacher, was loving yet exacting, always encouraging Jim to follow a stable, conventional path. From his earliest years, he grew up under the weight of expectations and rigid structure, where even small acts of rebellion could lead to isolation or conflict. The constant relocations due to his father's military career brought both instability and solitude. Each move, each unfamiliar town, left its mark, forcing young Jim to observe, adapt, and absorb the world around him. These experiences, though challenging, sharpened his perception and nurtured a deep sensitivity, a foundation for the poetic and philosophical lens through which he would later view life and music. From an early age, Morrison displayed an uncommon fascination with the arts. He devoured poetry, philosophy, and literature, always seeking experiences that felt extraordinary. These pursuits distinguished him from his peers, revealing a mind that was both inquisitive and rebellious. The tensions and contradictions between his innate creativity and the expectations of his family planted the seeds of a restless, defiant spirit. Solitude became a companion, and the written word a sanctuary. Poetry, books, and sketches were not mere hobbies. They were lifelines. Here, the young Morrison honed the introspection and imaginative depth that would define his artistry, even as he wrestled with feelings of alienation and a yearning for freedom. These formative years, marked by conflict, displacement, and early artistic discovery, laid the psychological groundwork for the man who would one day dominate stages, captivate audiences, and live a life both luminous and tragically self-destructive. During his college years at UCLA, Morrison pursued film studies, yet his attention was increasingly drawn to music and poetry. It was here that he met Ray Manzarek, a partnership that would give birth to the Doors. Their collaboration was electric, a fusion of poetic vision and musical innovation, setting the stage for a band that would redefine rock. Morrison's presence was magnetic. He carried a charisma that demanded attention even in the smallest of venues. The Doors' first performance took place in a modest Los Angeles bar, under dim lights and before a sparse audience. Yet even in that modest setting, Morrison's presence was undeniable. His deep, commanding voice, combined with hypnotic gestures, drew the audience into a world both thrilling and unsettling. Initial failures and awkward moments only strengthened his resolve, honing the theatricality and enigmatic aura that would become his signature on stage. In 1966, the Doors signed a record deal with Elektra Records, marking the first major milestone in Morrison's career. His lyrical prowess, steeped in poetry and philosophical insight, quickly made him the focal point of the band. But the path to success was far from smooth. Creative differences among the band members, early public skepticism, and the pressures of shaping a revolutionary sound created tension, a crucible that forged both art and personality. Behind the scenes, Morrison's routine was a delicate blend of inspiration and obsession. Late at night, he would write poems on scraps of paper, scattered across the floor, accompanied by cigarettes and coffee. These private moments revealed a man wrestling with inner demons, striving to capture glimpses of truth through words and melody. They were the silent prelude to the stage persona the world would come to revere, a figure at once rebellious, poetic, and dangerously compelling. These early years established Morrison not just as a musician, but as a force of nature. Each rehearsal, each performance, each lyric written in the quiet of a small apartment was a step toward the larger-than-life icon he would become. The foundation for his extraordinary rise was laid in these formative moments, a fusion of talent, defiance, and relentless pursuit of artistic truth. When the Doors released their debut album in 1967, Jim Morrison rapidly became the focal point of the American rock scene. The Doors was more than a band. It was a cultural phenomenon. Morrison's lyrics, haunting, poetic, and often surreal, spoke to the restless spirit of a generation, capturing both rebellion and introspection. Songs like Break On Through, To the Other Side, and Light My Fire transcended radio airwaves, becoming anthems of freedom, defiance, and youthful exploration. On stage, Morrison was a force of nature, clad in tight leather, with his hair wild and eyes penetrating. He moved with an intensity that mesmerized audiences. Each performance was a ritual, his gestures dramatic, his voice deep and hypnotic, his presence simultaneously alluring and unsettling. Fans were entranced, yet journalists began noticing cracks in the veneer, late arrivals, forgotten lyrics, occasional intoxication. The tension between Morrison's brilliance and his self-destructive tendencies became increasingly apparent. Subsequent albums, including Strange Days, 1967, Waiting for the Sun, 1968, and L.A. Woman, 1971, cemented the band's legendary status. Morrison's image was carefully constructed yet enigmatic, a poetic rebel, a charismatic rock frontman, and a symbol of the counterculture. Yet behind the public adoration, the pressures of fame began to take their toll. The Miami performance in 1969, where Morrison faced legal charges for allegedly lewd behavior on stage, marked the first major crack in his public persona, foreshadowing the turbulent years to come. Morrison became a figure both celebrated and controversial. His public image, rebel, poet, icon, was inseparable from the rumors, the scrutiny, and the constant gaze of the media. Rare photographs and performances reveal the juxtaposition, a radiant performer captivating thousands, yet with subtle signs of exhaustion and inner turmoil lurking behind the eyes. The tension between his stage persona and private self created a magnetic pull for audiences, ensuring that every concert, every song, and every word would be dissected and remembered. This period captures Morrison at the apex of his fame, a man of extraordinary talent whose brilliance was inseparable from his volatility. It is here, amid acclaim and scrutiny, that the seeds of scandal and personal downfall were sown, setting the stage for the dark, untold stories that define his legacy. Beneath the dazzling lights of the stage and the adoring gaze of thousands, Jim Morrison lived a life of relentless chaos. Alcohol, drugs, and prolonged bouts of intoxication became his constant companions, mechanisms to escape the pressure of fame and the gnawing solitude within. Los Angeles and New York nightlife provided arenas not just for celebration, but for hidden battles where each move, each gesture was laced with both artistry and danger. Romantic entanglements added another layer of complexity. Morrison was known for his passionate, often fleeting relationships with fans, fellow artists, and acquaintances within the entertainment world. These liaisons, though private, frequently became fodder for scandal as the media scrutinizes every move. The infamous Miami performance of 1969 exemplified this tension. Accused of lewd behavior on stage, Morrison faced legal action that shocked the nation and intensified public fascination with his persona. Even within the Doors, Morrison's lifestyle created friction. Rehearsals often turned into heated arguments as he resisted direction, challenged bandmates, or vanished mid-session in search of inspiration. The pressure of maintaining both creative integrity and public performance weighed heavily, driving him into solitude where poetry, notebooks, and scribbled lyrics became both refuge and confession. Rare, previously unseen photographs reveal Morrison in candid, revealing moments. Tired eyes, a subtle tension in his jaw, a fleeting smile that hints at both brilliance and inner torment. Backstage shots capture him sipping a drink, a cigarette smoldering nearby. Isolated yet intensely present, as if standing on the threshold between genius and self-destruction. Each image silently narrates the duality of Morrison's life. The electrifying frontman adored by millions and the vulnerable, tormented man behind the scenes. Minor mishaps, seemingly trivial at first. Stumbles on stage, missed interviews, forgotten lyrics, accumulated, adding tension to his life and fueling media speculation. Morrison understood the stakes. Every misstep risked scandal. Yet he refused to compromise his freedom or creativity, choosing instead to live on the knife edge between artistic expression and self-destruction. Morrison's internal battles were as intense as his public persona. Amid roaring crowds, he exuded confidence and control. In solitude, he wrestled with depression, existential questions, and the shadow of mortality. Personal writings and unpublished poetry provide glimpses into this inner world. A Morrison who was brilliant yet fragile, magnetic yet tormented, a man whose genius could not exist without the chaos that surrounded it. The final years of Morrison's life were a turbulent convergence of fame and self-destruction. The Miami performance of 1969 remained a defining moment. Facing legal charges for alleged lewd behavior, Morrison found himself at the center of a media storm. Headlines screamed his transgressions, fans debated his morality, and critics dissected every move, turning the stage legend into a lightning rod for controversy. The pressure mounted, driving him further into alcohol and drugs as both escape and torment. Subsequent tours became performances teetering on the edge of chaos. Morrison often appeared late, intoxicated, or lost in the lyrics, his eyes occasionally betraying exhaustion and inner turmoil. Behind the curtains, the world was starkly different. Wandering hotel hallways, scribbling poetry on scraps of paper, the dim glow of a single lamp illuminating the smoke curling from a cigarette. Rare, unpublished photographs reveal these private moments. Morrison alone, hands clutching a drink, eyes distant, navigating the delicate balance between genius and self-destruction. His romantic life remained equally tumultuous. Flirtations and affairs, intense and ephemeral, fueled gossip and speculation. Friends observed the contradictions. The man who mesmerized thousands on stage could be lost in solitude, vulnerable to his own impulses, and caught in a cycle of passion, addiction, and isolation. Every fleeting encounter, every whispered rumor added layers to myth and fed the insatiable public fascination. Even within the doors, Morrison's lifestyle created tension. Rehearsals became battlegrounds of artistic vision and personal friction, sometimes erupting into arguments, sometimes yielding moments of unexpected brilliance. The duality of Morrison's life, captivating frontman versus tormented private man, was stark. Rare backstage shots show him leaning against walls, cigarette in hand, lost in thought, reflecting the invisible weight of fame and personal demons. The final months in Paris, 1971, were marked by a haunting solitude. Morrison withdrew from the world, yet could not escape himself. Photographs from Rue Beautreillis show him gazing out at deserted streets, his expression reflective and intense, surrounded by notebooks, unfinished poetry, and the faint glow of cigarette embers. Even in isolation, the tension between his desire for freedom and the consequences of his lifestyle persisted, foreshadowing the tragedy to come. Morrison's death at age 27 remains shrouded in mystery. Some sources cite heart failure. Others point to the cumulative effects of drugs and alcohol. Rarely documented moments from his final days capture a man at war with himself, a genius entangled with his own demons, a life extinguished too early yet burning impossibly bright. Each scandal, every public controversy, and each rare moment collectively illustrate the duality of Morrison's existence. An artist adored and feared, free and tormented, whose brilliance and chaos were inseparable. These dark, untold stories, interwoven with rare photos and unpublished writings, allow us to see Morrison not merely as a legend, but as a human being, a man of extraordinary talent, profound vulnerability, and unflinching defiance. The allure, the danger, and the tragedy of Morrison's life continue to captivate, a cautionary and inspirational tale of the extraordinary cost of genius. The turning points in Jim Morrison's life were rarely gentle. They were seismic events that reshaped both his personal and professional existence. The legal fallout from the infamous Miami performance in 1969 was a defining moment. Facing charges for alleged lewd behavior, Morrison's life became a whirlwind of court appearances, media scrutiny, and public debate. The intensity of these events heightened his self-destructive tendencies, pushing him deeper into alcohol and drugs as both refuge and torment. Tensions within the Doors also marked critical turning points. Creative clashes and personal conflicts with Ray Manzarek and Robbie Krieger created moments of volatility behind the scenes. Rehearsals often devolved into arguments, and Morrison's unpredictability challenged both the cohesion of the band and the logistics of their tours. These internal struggles, though private, shaped his decisions and forced him to navigate the fragile line between artistic integrity and professional obligation. Perhaps the most profound turning point occurred during Morrison's final months in Paris, 1971. Seeking solitude and escape from the relentless glare of fame, he withdrew from the public eye. Rare photographs and journal entries from this period depict a man consumed by reflection. Sitting alone by his apartment window, cigarette in hand, pen poised over sheets of unfinished poetry. Here, Morrison confronted the consequences of his lifestyle, the weight of his choices, and the fleeting nature of life itself. His untimely death at age 27 became the ultimate turning point, not only ending a life, but solidifying his legend. Whether attributed to heart failure, the cumulative effects of substance use, or a combination of factors, Morrison's passing sent shockwaves through the music world. It transformed him from provocative rock frontman into an immortal icon of rebellion, artistry, and tragedy. These moments of upheaval highlight the paradox at the heart of Morrison's existence. The same fire that fueled his creativity also propelled him toward danger, each turning point intensifying the tension between brilliance and self-destruction. By examining these critical junctures, we gain a deeper understanding of Morrison, not just as a rock star, but as a man negotiating freedom, mortality, and legacy. In essence, the turning points of Morrison's life forged the contours of his myth. They were moments of choice, consequence, and revelation, events that defined his journey, shaped his relationships, and ultimately influenced the cultural footprint he would leave behind. Though Jim Morrison's life was cut tragically short, his influence on music and culture remained profound and enduring. Following his death, the Doors continued to perform and record, yet no one could replicate the magnetic presence Morrison brought to the band. His lyrics, haunting, poetic, and often introspective, continue to resonate across generations, from Riders on Storm to L.A. Woman and People Are Strange, cementing his place as a voice of rebellion, reflection, and raw artistic expression. Beyond music, Morrison left a treasure trove of rare photographs, unpublished poetry, and personal writings. These artifacts offer glimpses into his inner world, a man both larger than life and deeply human. Fans, musicians, and scholars study these materials to better understand the depth of his genius and the intensity of his personal struggles. Morrison became a symbol of ultimate freedom, a man who dared to live fully according to his own rules, regardless of the consequences. His influence extends far beyond the stage. Morrison redefined the integration of poetry, philosophy, and rock music, opening doors for future artists to explore unconventional paths of expression. Rare moments from his performances, the handwritten notes he left behind, and his public controversies contribute to a legacy that is at once inspiring and cautionary. He showed the world that brilliance often exists alongside chaos, and that artistic freedom carries both exhilarating highs and devastating lows. Morrison's life also serves as a meditation on human duality, light and darkness coexisting, creativity intertwined with self-destruction. These lessons endure through his recordings, writings, and the vivid images captured in rare photos. They remind us that Morrison was not merely a legend on stage, but a complex individual navigating fame, personal demons, and the relentless pursuit of self-expression. Ultimately, Jim Morrison's legacy is inseparable from the mythos he inspired. Every lyric, Every stage gesture, every rare photograph captures fragment of a man who lived intensely, thought deeply, and left an indelible mark on culture. He became an icon not only of rock music, but a human struggle to reconcile freedom, creativity, and the inexorable shadows that follow a life lived without compromise. Morrison's art and persona continue to captivate, reminding us that true genius is often entwined with profound vulnerability, and that his light, though brief, burns forever in the hearts of those who dare to feel deeply. Jim Morrison was more than a voice, a rock icon, or a poet. He embodied profound tension between light and darkness, between fame and personal turmoil. His life, brief yet blazing, stands as a testament to the price and value of absolute freedom. Morrison lived fully, embracing both brilliance and chaos, a duality that has immortalized him in the memory of music and culture alike. Rare photographs, unpublished poetry, and private writings reveal a man unafraid to confront his own contradictions, a genius both magnetic and vulnerable, whose brilliance could not exist without the shadows that accompanied it. These glimpses into his private world remind us that behind every legend lies a human being wrestling with fear, desire, and the consequences of living authentically. Looking back, Morrison's story is not just about songs or scandals. It is about a man who dared inhabit the full spectrum of human experience, who pushed boundaries in art and life alike. He teaches us that light and darkness coexist, that creativity is inseparable from struggle, and that living fully may demand sacrifice and courage. As the stage lights fade and the echoes of his voice linger in the air, Jim Morrison endures, not merely as a rock star, but as a symbol of relentless pursuit of uncompromising authenticity. Every performance, every lyric, every rare photograph carries a piece of his spirit, reminding us of the intensity and fragility of life lived on one's own terms. His legend captivates, inspires, and warns, a timeless reflection on freedom, creativity, and the human condition.